Hello, and welcome back, or perhaps for the first time, to Black Jade Island. For those of you who don't know, Black Jade is my hard mode island. Hard mode is a special set of rules that was created by Nintendogs to make this game just a little bit more challenging. Isabelle announced that Stu has finally moved in. Everyone gives Stu a hearty welcome to our little community. He has taken on the role of our pumpkin keeper, a great and terrible responsibility. I tended to my crops before running around to pick a bunch of roses to make a rose bed. I'm not sure why I decided that I needed to make a rose bed right now, but that was the first thing on my agenda for the day. On the beach, I found a recipe bottle with a recipe for a skateboard rack. I wasn't aware that there were skateboards in this game, so that was a fun discovery for me. Daisy May was selling turnips for 95 bells each. There's this website, AC Turnip Calculator, that predicts turnip prices, but because I can't always check what the second turnip price of the day is to input it, the predictions aren't going to be very accurate for me, but it seems like it would be a useful tool if you have the time to invest into it. I got my aunt, so I threw away the rotten turnip before running over to talk to Sable. I made some purchases, stopped to make myself a pretty dress to wear for the week. I think I might have made the waistline a little too high, and I decided that I hated the white ribbon seconds after completing it, but I decided to leave it for now because I was feeling lazy and had other things to do. Campfires were the hot item, so I made a bunch to sell and nice. I don't really like how the dirt paths look when it comes to rows of crops. If you use the same color dirt, it just makes a big square, which isn't what I want. But also, I don't want the rows to be different colors of dirt, so I made this sloppy one as a custom design to test it out. Unfortunately, you can't dig into custom designs, so it ended up having to buy the darker dirt from the Nook Stop and alternate between those to keep it in rows. How unfortunate. Anyway, I took some time to redecorate the outside of Stu's house. I moved the pumpkin patch next to the house and fenced it off with a simple fencing. I liked it better than the country fencing for this. I also made a little path leading to the house and the garden and planted a few tulips. I think it came out pretty nice. I moved the stone table and the stool over to the rocks on the beach and set up the gyroid so they could look out at the ocean together. Now it looks like they're on a little date, which I find charming. I did my stretching, checked my fossils, pointedly ignored Rodney, who had the audacity to be present when I went to get my daily coffee. I finished off my 2x smile task and went to check on Sparrow, who it turns out was sick today. I thought I had some medicine made and ready to go, but I couldn't find it in this mess, so I just crafted a new one to bring to him. I went to get my fortune told. I suddenly remembered that despite having spent several minutes decorating the outside of Stu's house, I didn't check to see what the inside will look like. Once again, I'm not certain what the theme is here. I thought Stu would have a more rural kind of aesthetic, just judging by his sweater, but apparently his house has an urban theme. Since it was Sunday, I decided to open my markets and actually remembered to record the footage from it this time. I had 2 customers, Jen from Fallstorm and Sue Pans from Farmland, who was wearing this cute Monokuma outfit. Isabelle announced that Nook's Cranny was going to be upgrading tomorrow. I don't remember what the threshold is for getting the upgrade, but I must have hit it. I'm pretty sure there's only the one upgrade in this game, and I have mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, a big department store would definitely clash with the deserted island vibe, but on the other hand, I used to really like earning my way up to a Nookington's, so I took care of my crops. Kix was on my island today, so I bought myself some new bags. I talked to Sable before making my purchases. How many of these patterns does she give us? It's gotta stop sometime. I forgot that I wasn't allowed to buy shirts for a second, so I bought this crafting apron thing because I thought it looked neat. Whoops. I did my stretches, went on a boat tour with Cap'n, checked my fossils, got some coffee. Sparrow finally gave me his photo. Now nobody on the island is safe. Everybody is expendable, especially Rodney. I finished off my 2x miles task, got my fortune told, and that's about it. It was a pretty uneventful day, all told. Since the renovations were underway, I decided not to harvest my crops today. I just watered them instead. The drop box isn't available, so they would just be taking up a lot of my precious inventory space. I did like having them offset though, so I might skip harvesting them one day, so I can have a smaller payout every day rather than a bigger one every other day, but I might forget to do that as well. Also, In a previous video, I very confidently said that I had all of the crops in the game. This was untrue. I don't have any potatoes. So my mission for the foreseeable future is to get myself some potato starts. I talked to Sable, and before I made my purchases, I stopped to talk to Label, who was on my island. It just made more sense to try and buy clothes for the fashion quest. I finished off my outfit, and since one of my tasks was to cook something, I ran into my kitchen to get that done, but Kit just invited herself over and interrupted me. I let her inside and went about my business. Unlike my last two visitors, my cooking did not offend her, and she stuck around long enough to give me a free pair and play high card low card with me. Once she left, I finished up the rest of my 2x tasks and wanted to do the rest of my dailies. Stretching, fossils, coffee, checked my fortune. Forgot to stop by Leaf to see if he was selling potato starts before calling it a day. Oops. Nook's Cranny reopened, which means I can sell stuff and make purchases again. Very exciting. They'll also sell holiday furniture the next time a holiday rolls around, which is fun. I harvested and watered all of my crops. Realized that I had forgotten to water the gyroid fragment that I had buried yesterday. Oopsie. Honestly, I'm not even sure how that happened. Gullivar was on my island, so I cast myself into the sea to search for his phone. While I was in there, I decided to try and grab some sea creatures for a few extra bells. My strategy of dropping all of my excess furniture on the ground is ruining my life, and I need to get more storage so I can clean up my poor island, which means I need as many bells as I can get, which means diving. A large shadow led me on an extremely tedious chase, but it was worth it. A big ol' spider crab. I really want to keep it to jump scare myself with, but I need the money more. There will be other spider crabs. While I was diving, I caught a scallop for Pascal. I've been ignoring diving in general, so poor Pascal has just been starving out here for weeks. At least he gets to eat today. I checked my fossils and got a coffee, did my stretching, made some purchases. For some reason, I decided that I really wanted this arcade cabinet, even though I have no real use for it. For whatever reason, this was my mission for the day, to gather enough bells to buy this garbage that I don't need. The hot items were wooden double beds and donation boxes. Wooden double beds take a full stack of wood to craft, so even for hot item prices, I decided that it wasn't worth the resources to make some. And donation boxes are less resource intensive, but they also aren't worth enough for me to invest in either. So I ended up grabbing the money from my savings account. I feel so financially irresponsible. I finished off my 2x miles tasks and popped over to Harv's Island to get my fortune told before calling it a day. Once again, I forgot to talk to Leaf. Isabel announced that there would be shooting stars tonight, so that was exciting. I started my day by tending to my crops. Sahara was my NPC for the day, so I bought one of every size of rug and used the tickets to buy mysterious wallpaper. If there's one thing that I like more than wallpaper, it's mystery wallpaper. I also got some mystery flooring. I talked to Sable and ignored whatever it was she was saying because I was busy looking at this skeleton costume that I can't wear. You have no idea how much that pains me. I made some purchases. I checked the turnip prices, which had been down in the 40s yesterday. It was possible that it was going to continue going up, but I decided not to risk it and just sell while I was making a profit. A 1600 bell profit isn't the worst thing in the world. I did my stretching, checked my fossils, got some coffee. On the way out, Brewster stopped me and gave me another present. It put me in a giving mood, so I gave Patty one of my repeat fossils. She gave me a caterpillar costume in return, and it kills me that I can't wear it. Hardest part of hard mode is not getting to wear the ridiculous costumes that I love so much. I finished off my 2x miles tasks and went on to get my fortune told. Today was the first bad fortune that I got. As I understand it, friendship diminishing lowers your friendship with all villagers, and I don't want that, so I paid the 10,000 bells to get that cleared up. That evening, I went to enjoy my star shower. I looked for Celeste, but I couldn't find her. No great loss. I think the zodiac furniture in this game is ugly anyway. But I am going to need to get those recipes at some point, so she better show up the next time I get shooting stars. I did run into Wisp, though, and he gave me some dirt floors. Thanks, man. I started my day by tending to my crops and began hunting for the day's fossils. Once I found them all, I popped by the museum to get them assessed and grabbed my daily coffee, and then I remembered that it was Friday, and thus time for me to redecorate my living room. I said before that it would be smart to think about what sort of theme I wanted to go with earlier in the week and maybe prepare beforehand, but I ended up not doing that. I don't really like how this ended up coming out. The vibe I was going for was sort of arcade that was built and decorated in the 90s but hadn't updated the carpet since, so the black carpet with the neon designs is all faded and worn down and seems like they haven't vacuumed in a month or two, but you choose to ignore it because it's the only arcade in town and also they have Time Crisis. But I do not have Time Crisis, so I did my stretching. Sparrow had a thought bubble, but he didn't want to move out, so it doesn't matter. CJ was on my island. I did his little fishing challenge and cleared out Fish Prison for selling. I wanted to finish up my daily tasks before really committing to fishing my way into a bigger house. So I went and made some purchases, finished out my 2x miles tasks, got my fortune told. Then it was fish o'clock. I realized when I was outlining my absolute perfection goals, I didn't mention anything about the fish and bug collectibles. I've decided that I want to get them all, although I have no idea where I'm going to store all that. Well, whatever. The obvious choice seemed to be knocking out the sea bass, but I actually decided to go for the football fish since it'll be out of season at the end of the month. While I was fishing, I noticed that Diana had a thought bubble, but she just wanted me to deliver an apology gift to Norma. Once I took care of that, I had a bit of trouble finding Diana again to tell her the good news, but I did eventually track her down. Then it was back to fishing, only for Wendy to have a thought bubble as well. She wanted me to go hang out at her place, so I did that for a bit, and then it was back to... Seriously? Diana just wanted to sell me stuff, but honestly, the constant thought bubbles from my villagers was really getting on my nerves, so I sold the fish I had and decided to call it there. The house upgrade can wait. We had another visitor at our campsite today. I decided to take care of my crops before heading over to see who we got. It was Admiral. I would think based on the name he would be more naval-themed. His unibrow really threw me, but he is not a bad villager. Grumpy, which is exciting, I need one of those on my island. So I beat him at a children's card game and he decided to replace Stu. So long, Stu. We barely knew you. I caught an oarfish to replace the one that I had sold yesterday. It'll sit in fish prison until CJ deigns to visit us again. I checked my fossils and got my coffee. There was this adorable unicorn plush in Nook's Cranny that I snapped up for my purchases. I also bought this table, but that doesn't matter. Unicorn plush is love, unicorn plush is life. I did my stretching, made some purchases at the Able Sisters. My fortune was another bad fortune. I decided to get it cleansed as well because apparently I get furniture when I do that and I want all of it. I finally remembered to check in with Leaf and he was not selling potatoes this week, but I did buy some wheat starts. My plan is to have a row of wheat and a row of sugar since you need a lot of those to make flour and such for cooking recipes, and then I'll round out that square with the potato starts when I get them. I also bought some shrubs that I planted to finish off my 2x miles tasks. Since I had some time today, I hopped on a boat tour with Cap'n. It was a crop island, so I dug up some free sugar plants to drop next to Kit's house along with the wheat starts I bought. I've elected her to be the potato keeper. Hopefully she doesn't suffer the same fate as the pumpkin keeper. I took some time to clear out some trees that were cluttering up my island. I'm thinking of turning the area in front of the stores into a sandbox playground sort of area. I just need to gather a few more furniture items before I build it. I hopped over to a mystery island and apparently getting my bad luck cleansed was a great idea because I found not one, but 2 gold ores. I'm hoarding them for now, but I'm going to have to make a King Tut mask eventually. All that's left for me to do is my daily NPC quest. While I have you here, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please press the button that tells me so, and subscribe as well if you want to make sure not to miss the next one. I hope to see you all next week.
Oh.